I love what you're saying, and it really mirrors something I say to my clients all the time and in my online course, which is try differently, not harder, right? Because we try the same thing over and over and over, and it doesn't really work. One way to do things differently is to look at your expectations. A lot of women I work with think that their men are going to respond to them like their girlfriends, and it's a completely unrealistic expectation. So they're setting themselves up for disappointment. And small little tweaks in your perception, your awareness, your approach, like you're saying, also can make a big difference in how you're invested in the relationship and how that investment pays back in feeling heard.
This is so important because there's different kinds of conversations. Like you're saying, with a girlfriend, you're going to have a dialogue. My wife and I will have a dialogue. And yet other times, she really just needs to be heard.
What is your best advice for a woman who says, I just don't want to have sex with my husband?
Right. Well, this is a big issue. Where I usually start with my clients is figuring out why. So there are a lot of things that could be impacting your sexual libido. One would be medication. One would be any type of mental health thing you have going on, anxiety or depression. You also may need to have some hormonal testing. So if you rule out the biology and you still don't want to have sex with your husband, now we're looking at a relationship issue. And I would really encourage women, first of all, to keep their boundary and say no if they need to say no, and respect that in themselves. But secondly, if you can participate, you might actually start to warm up to the process and get involved and end up enjoying yourself.
But building a tolerance for that kind of vulnerability is what helps us to have the intimacy we need.
And it's really just a skill. I think clients can get very overwhelmed thinking they have to reshape their entire personality. It's not about that. It's about taking who you are and knowing that you can handle where you're at. There's some self-confidence that goes along with that growth. I would speculate that we pick partners that will put us in that defensive place so that we can heal and move forward. And in my practice, it's really typical for people to come in feeling this way and really to get a little piece of awareness that you chose this person, work with it. There's some empowerment there. Like, you are wise in what you did. Stress tolerance can help you through this process, and you will grow and become who you want to be.
Well said.
Melanie, this is a common complaint I get in my practice, and typically what I encourage my clients to understand is that regardless of whether your partner is sitting physically with you or not, they are still here. They are in you, you are in the relationship. Any change you make will impact that relationship. So there's a lot of growth that you can do individually, and if the relationship itself doesn't change, at least your perspective will.
I love that answer. That is brilliant. Absolutely.
That if you invest in yourself, you're actually investing in your relationship, and you're investing in your children. You're modeling healthy self-care.
That's what you do in your online course, is you provide that ongoing support, because that's what we need, particularly women. Need other people saying it's okay, it's all right, you can do this. And otherwise, that little voice comes inside, I'm being selfish.
That part about coming into yourself and being interesting. You know, in my online course, we really talk about how people build marriages off of their strengths. And so having a relationship with two strong people in it who are interesting and having their own interests is a really great way to keep things alive and moving, because you're bringing newness. I also think we are really biologically and enculturated to give and overgive as women. And sometimes in my psychotherapy practice, most of my clients really have to reclaim a piece of their time. Like, they're always giving time. So it can be pretty scary to say, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go do something that I'm interested in. It's a foundational principle to understand that you're in control of your time and your life. And so taking that step and saying no, or maybe saying yes to something that you really want, is pretty important.